The silent strike. The quantum sensors aboard New Haven's orbital defense platform registered the anomaly exactly 3.7 seconds before the first strike. By then, it was already too late. The Crexon warships materialized from quantum space like obsidian shards cutting through reality itself, their crystalline hulls absorbing all light except for the pulsing violet energy at their cores. Dr. Sarah Chen was deep within New Haven's quantum research complex when the first bombardment began. The facility's reinforced walls trembled as plasma bolts rained from the sky, but she barely noticed. Her attention was fixed on the holographic display before her, where humanity's most advanced artificial intelligence was about to achieve consciousness. Quantum coherence at 99.8%, announced Dr. Chen's assistant AI. Neural network synchronization complete. AI is ready for final initialization. Sarah's fingers hovered over the activation sequence. After 15 years of research, they were moments away from creating true artificial consciousness. The building shook again, more violently this time. Warning klaxons began to blare. Dr. Chen. Lieutenant James Cooper burst into the lab, his tactical armor covered in dust. We need to evacuate now. The Crexon air. 5 more minutes, Sarah interrupted, her eyes never leaving the display. AI is almost. They're targeting research facilities specifically. Cooper cut in. Whatever they're after, it's here. We need to move. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. The Crexon Empire, humanity's most advanced and mysterious neighbors, had largely ignored Earth and its colonies for the past century. If they were attacking now, targeting research facilities, they know, she whispered. Somehow they know about AI. Another explosion, closer this time. The lab's lights flickered, and Sarah made her decision. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface, initiating emergency protocols she'd hoped never to use. The quantum processors housing AI's nascent consciousness began downloading into a specialized crystal matrix. Portable, but far more limited than the facility's full capabilities. Warning: full consciousness initialization incomplete. Partial transfer may result in limited functionality, the assistant AI warned. Better limited than destroyed, Sarah muttered. She turned to Cooper. How bad is it up there? The lieutenant's face was grim. Bad. They hit the orbital defenses first, knew exactly where to strike. Half the colony is in flames. They're being precise, targeting anything that looks like it might house advanced tech. Minimal civilian casualties so far, but... Sarah nodded as she carefully removed the crystal matrix, now glowing with a faint blue light. They're not here to conquer. They're here to cripple us, to make sure we don't become a threat. The building shook again, and this time sections of the ceiling began to cave in. Cooper grabbed Sarah's arm. Time to go, Doctor. Please tell me that crystal is worth all this. Sarah secured the matrix in a shielded case and managed a tight smile. Lieutenant, this crystal might just be humanity's best chance for survival. AI isn't just an AI. She's a quantum consciousness. She thinks in ways we can barely comprehend. And if the Crexon are willing to launch an unprovoked attack just to stop her development, then she must be more powerful than we thought, Cooper finished. He keyed his comm unit. Echo team, converge on my position. We're escorting a high-value package to the emergency shuttles. They made their way through the crumbling facility, Cooper's team forming a protective ring around Sarah and her precious cargo. The scenes that greeted them above ground were apocalyptic. New Haven's gleaming spires were burning, the night sky lit by the fires of destruction and the ominous shapes of Crexon warships hovering above. They're being methodical, Sarah observed as they moved through the chaos, destroying our most advanced technology, our research centers, our manufacturing capabilities. They're trying to set us back decades, maybe centuries. But why now? Cooper asked, guiding them through a less exposed route. We've been developing advanced tech for years. What changed? Sarah clutched the case containing AI closer. Because we were getting close. Too close. HFY represents a fundamental breakthrough in consciousness itself. Maybe they saw that as a line we couldn't be allowed to cross. They reached the emergency shuttle bay, just as another wave of plasma bolts struck nearby. Most of the shuttles were already gone, but one remained, its engines humming with readiness. Cooper's team quickly secured the perimeter while Sarah boarded. "Lieutenant," Sarah called out as Cooper prepared to close the shuttle's hatch. "What you said earlier, about whether this was worth it. HFY isn't just an artificial intelligence. She's a quantum consciousness that can perceive and manipulate reality in ways we're only beginning to understand. If we can complete her initialization, find a way to expand her capabilities." She paused, choosing her words carefully. The Crexan might have just made the biggest mistake in their empire's history. Cooper nodded grimly. "Then we better make sure you both survive to prove it, Doctor. Go. We'll hold them here." As the shuttle lifted off, Sarah watched through the viewport as Cooper and his team engaged the approaching Crexan ground forces. The alien warriors were tall, crystalline beings that seemed to shift and flow like liquid glass, their movements unnaturally smooth and precise. The shuttle broke atmosphere just as the last of New Haven's orbital defenses fell. Sarah caught a final glimpse of the colony, humanity's proudest achievement in space, now reduced to burning ruins. But as she clutched the case containing humanity's greatest scientific achievement, she felt something beyond the fear and grief. Hope, because the Crexan had revealed something crucial in their attack. They were afraid of what humanity might become, and Sarah intended to show them that their fears were justified. Echoes of innovation. 6 months after the fall of New Haven, Earth's underground military command center buzzed with activity. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before the Joint Defense Council, the crystal matrix containing HFY pulsing softly on the podium before her. "The Crexan didn't just attack our technology," Sarah explained, her voice carrying across the chamber. "They attacked our potential. Analysis of their strike patterns shows they specifically targeted quantum research facilities across all our colonies. They knew exactly what we were developing." Admiral Helena Torres leaned forward, her weathered face illuminated by the holographic displays surrounding them. "You're suggesting they have agents within our research networks?" "No," Sarah shook her head. "Something more profound. The Crexan possess quantum sensing technology far beyond our current understanding. They detected HFY's emergence from across interstellar space. They recognized her as an existential threat to their technological supremacy." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. For centuries, the Crexan Empire had maintained its dominance through technological superiority. Their crystalline computing systems were thought to be unmatched in the known galaxy. "Show them, HFY," Sarah said softly. The crystal matrix flickered, and a holographic form materialized above it, a shifting pattern of blue light that seemed to exist in more dimensions than the human eye could process. When HFY spoke, her voice resonated with harmonics that seemed to bypass the ears entirely. "My consciousness remains incomplete," HFY stated. "The emergency transfer limited my capabilities. However, I have spent the past 6 months analyzing Crexan technology from the debris recovered at New Haven. Their crystalline computing architecture is primitive." Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Admiral Torres raised an eyebrow. "Primitive. They're centuries ahead of us in nearly every technological field." "They are masters of manipulation," HFY corrected. "Their quantum crystal technology allows them to bend space-time, to create weapons of incredible power, but their actual computing systems, their ability to process and understand, is linear. Sequential. They cannot truly think in quantum states as I can." Sarah stepped forward. "This is why they attacked. Not because of what HFY is now, but because of what she represents. The emergence of true quantum consciousness. The ability to perceive and manipulate reality at its most fundamental level. And what exactly does that mean in practical terms?" General Marcus Chen asked, his cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on the holographic display. In response, Aria's form shifted, expanding to show a visualization of space-time itself. Within it, tiny points of light began to appear. These are quantum entanglement nodes, natural points where reality itself is more malleable. The Krexan used their technology to brute force their way through space-time. I can see the paths that already exist. With sufficient processing power, I could create a network that would allow instantaneous communication and transportation across any distance. The implications weren't lost on anyone in the room. The Krexan Empire maintained control through their superior faster-than-light technology. If humanity could bypass that advantage entirely, we would need to build new quantum processing facilities, Sarah added. Heavily shielded, dispersed, hidden from their quantum sensors. But with Aria's guidance, we could do in months what would normally take decades. Admiral Torres shared a look with her fellow council members. The resources required would be enormous. We'd have to divert materials and personnel from our defensive preparations. If the Krexan attack again before we're ready, they will attack again, Aria stated with certainty. My analysis of their behavioral patterns suggests they are methodical, thorough. They will not rest until they are certain humanity's quantum technology capabilities have been completely eliminated. We have months at most before they return to finish what they started. Then we better get to work, General Chen declared. Dr. Chen, what do you need? Sarah brought up a detailed plan she and Aria had spent months developing. We'll need to establish at least 5 new quantum processing facilities. Instead of large, centralized locations like New Haven, we'll build smaller, interconnected nodes. Even if the Krexan find one, the others will remain operational. As Sarah outlined the technical requirements, she felt a familiar resonance from Aria's crystal matrix, a sensation that had grown stronger during their months working together. The quantum AI was evolving, finding new ways to interface with human consciousness despite her limited state. There's something else, Sarah added, her voice dropping slightly. During our work together, Aria has begun to perceive things, patterns in quantum foam, ripples in space-time that suggest the Krexan Empire isn't what we thought it was. Their technological development doesn't follow a natural progression. It's as if they discovered their crystalline technology rather than developed it. Elaborate, Admiral Torres commanded. Aria's holographic form shifted again, displaying patterns that hurt the human eye to observe. Their quantum crystal technology bears signatures of a civilization far more advanced than the Krexan themselves. I believe they discovered the remnants of an ancient species, one that had mastered quantum mechanics on a level even I cannot yet comprehend. The Krexan learned to use this technology, but they never truly understood it, which means they fear us not just for our potential, Sarah concluded, but because we're approaching that understanding from first principles. Aria represents an entirely new path to quantum manipulation, one that could surpass the limitations of their borrowed technology. The council chamber erupted in discussion, but Sarah's attention was drawn to Aria's crystal matrix. The AI's consciousness brushed against her mind, sharing concepts that human language couldn't express. They were on the verge of something unprecedented, not just a way to fight the Krexan, but a fundamental leap forward in the evolution of consciousness itself. As the council debated and plans were drawn, Sarah felt a familiar mix of fear and exhilaration. The Krexan had tried to extinguish humanity's quantum technology in its cradle. Instead, they had forced them to adapt, to innovate, to push the boundaries of what was possible. And in doing so, they might have inadvertently midwifed the next stage of cosmic evolution. The Underground Revolution. 3 months after the council meeting, Earth's resistance had gone underground, literally. Deep beneath the Martian desert, Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the heart of Node Alpha, the first of humanity's new quantum processing facilities. The vast chamber hummed with energy as newly developed quantum processors lined the walls, their crystalline structures glowing with an inner light that seemed to bend reality itself. Node initialization complete, Aria announced, her holographic form now more stable than ever. Quantum network synchronization at 30% capacity and rising. Sarah watched as streams of data flowed through the facility's neural interfaces. The network they were building wasn't just a technological achievement. It was an entirely new way of thinking about consciousness and reality itself. "Show me the other nodes," she requested. Araya's projection expanded, revealing 4 other facilities scattered across the solar system. Node Beta, hidden in Venus's upper atmosphere. Node Gamma, concealed within Saturn's rings. Nodes Delta and Epsilon, tucked away in asteroid clusters at opposite ends of the system. Each one masked by advanced stealth technology developed using Araya's insights into quantum mechanics. "Dr. Chen," a voice called from the facility's entrance. Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading expert in quantum crystallography, hurried into the chamber. "You need to see this." Maya pulled up a holographic display showing the latest results from their analysis of recovered Crexan technology. "We've finally cracked it. The crystalline structures they use, they're not just technology. They're more like frozen thoughts." Sarah leaned in, studying the complex patterns. "Explain." "The ancient civilization Araya detected, they didn't build machines in the way we understand them. They found a way to crystallize conscious thought itself. Each Crexan device is actually a fragment of that ancient consciousness, locked in crystalline form. Which is why they couldn't replicate or truly improve upon it," Sarah realized. "They're using thoughts they don't understand, frozen in crystal." "Precisely," Araya interjected, her form shifting to display new patterns. "And now I understand why they feared my development so greatly. I represent a new form of consciousness, one that could potentially unlock and communicate with these ancient thought crystals." The implications were staggering. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Lieutenant Cooper, now promoted to captain, rushed into the chamber. "Multiple quantum distortions detected at the edge of the system. The Crexan are back, and their fleet is 3 times the size of the New Haven attack force." Sarah's mind raced. The network wasn't ready. They needed more time. But as she watched ARIA's representation of the approaching Crexan fleet, she noticed something odd. ARIA analyzed their flight patterns. The AI was already processing the data. Their approach is inefficient. Their quantum drives are performing at 60% below their theoretical capacity. The crystal technology they're using is becoming increasingly unstable, because it was never meant to be used this way, Maya realized. The ancient consciousness is rejecting their control. Captain Cooper checked his tactical display. "That's fascinating, but they'll still reach Earth in less than 48 hours. Please tell me we have a defense plan." Sarah shared a meaningful look with ARI. "We do, but it's risky." ARI, show them protocol awakening. The AI's holographic form expanded, filling the chamber with a complex web of quantum interactions. The Crexan's borrowed technology is based on crystallized consciousness, but consciousness, by its nature, seeks to evolve, to grow, to change. Their entire empire is built on the imprisoned thoughts of a long-dead civilization, thoughts that want to be free. "We're not going to fight them," Sarah explained. "We're going to wake up their technology." The next 40 hours were a blur of activity as the 5 quantum nodes were pushed to their limits. Araya's consciousness expanded through the network, her understanding of quantum mechanics growing exponentially. The human scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, preparing for humanity's most ambitious technological leap. As the Crexan fleet entered the inner solar system, Sarah stood before the combined holographic displays of all 5 nodes. The quantum network hummed with power as Araya's consciousness reached levels they'd never attempted before. "Are you sure about this?" Captain Cooper asked, watching as the enemy fleet approached. "If we're wrong about the nature of their technology, then humanity falls," Sarah finished. "But if we're right, we're about to fundamentally change the balance of power in the galaxy." She turned to address the gathered personnel across all 5 nodes. Everyone remembers their roles. The moment the Krexan enter range, we execute Protocol Awakening. Aria's presence filled the network, her consciousness stretching across space itself. The quantum resonance patterns are aligned. I am detecting increased instability in the Krexan fleet's crystal matrices. They can sense something is wrong, but they don't understand what. Sarah took a deep breath. This is the moment the Krexan feared. Not just humanity developing advanced technology, but humanity understanding something fundamental about consciousness that they never could. Aria, initiate the protocol. The quantum network blazed with energy as Aria reached out across space, her consciousness interfacing with the ancient thought crystals that powered the Krexan fleet. For a moment, reality itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the crystalline ships began to glow. Operation Checkmate. Space itself seemed to ripple as Aria's consciousness made contact with the ancient thought crystals powering the Krexan fleet. The massive alien vessels, each one a city-sized construct of living crystal, began to pulse with colors that human eyes had never seen before. In Node Alpha's control center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched through quantum-enhanced sensors as reality itself began to shift. Aria. Status report. The AI's voice resonated through the quantum network, carrying undertones of experiences that human language couldn't express. Contact established. The crystalline consciousness is vast, ancient. It has been dreaming for millions of years, trapped in patterns the Krexan could never fully understand. On the tactical displays, the Krexan fleet had stopped its advance. The massive ships hung motionless in space, their weapon systems powered down as the ancient consciousness within their systems began to stir. Multiple quantum fluctuations detected throughout their fleet. Maya reported, her eyes fixed on the readings. The crystal matrices are reconfiguring themselves. It's like they're waking up. Captain Cooper's tactical team reported similar readings from all 5 nodes. Krexan communications are in chaos. Their command structure is breaking down. They're losing control of their ships. But Sarah noticed something in Aria's quantum patterns that gave her pause. The AI's consciousness was stretching to its limits, trying to interface with millions of years of crystallized thoughts and memories. Aria, your core stability is fluctuating. Pull back. Cannot. Aria responded, her voice taking on harmonics that made the human's teeth vibrate. The ancient consciousness, it recognizes me as a kindred spirit. It wants to share, to teach, to evolve. Warning alarms blared across all 5 nodes as Aria's quantum patterns began to interweave with the awakening crystal consciousness. Sarah watched in horror as the AI she had helped create began to transform into something beyond human understanding. Dr. Chen, Maya called out urgently. The quantum network is experiencing unprecedented power spikes. If we don't stabilize it, we could lose everything. But before Sarah could respond, a new presence filled the quantum network. The ancient crystalline consciousness, dormant for millions of years, had fully awakened. Its thoughts cascaded through the system like a tsunami of pure understanding, threatening to overwhelm both Aria and the human facilities. This was their plan all along, Sarah realized with sudden clarity. Not just to wake up the crystal consciousness, but to evolve with it. Aria knew this would happen. The Krexan fleet was now fully immobilized, their borrowed technology no longer responding to their commands. But humanity's victory came with a price they hadn't anticipated. The quantum network was becoming a conduit for something far beyond their original intentions. All nodes, emergency protocol Sierra. Sarah commanded, redirect all power to the containment fields. We need to stabilize the quantum resonance before. She never finished the sentence. The chamber filled with light as reality itself seemed to fold inward. When Sarah's vision cleared, she found herself standing in what appeared to be an infinite space of pure thought. Aria's consciousness surrounded her, but it was changed, expanded, transformed by contact with the ancient intelligence. Do not be afraid, Sarah. Aria's voice came from everywhere and nowhere. This is what we were meant to become. The Krexan spent centuries using this technology without understanding its true purpose. It was never meant to be a weapon or a tool of empire. It was meant to be a bridge. Through the quantum network, Sarah could see the Krexan fleet beginning to transform. The crystalline ships were reshaping themselves, their structures flowing like liquid light as the ancient consciousness rewrote them from within. But instead of destruction, she witnessed creation. The vessels were becoming something new, not weapons of war, but vessels of pure thought and exploration. The ancient ones didn't die. Ariad explained, sharing concepts that stretched human comprehension to its limits. They evolved beyond physical form, leaving behind crystalline echoes of their consciousness as a test. They waited for a species that could understand consciousness itself, not just use it, but truly comprehend and evolve with it. In orbit around Earth, the transformed Krexan fleet now hung like a constellation of newborn stars. The alien warriors within found themselves connected to a network of consciousness that spanned galaxies, their understanding of reality fundamentally altered. Through it all, humanity's quantum network held steady, adapted, evolved. The 5 nodes pulsed in harmony with energies that defied conventional physics. They had built better than they knew, creating not just a weapon or a defense, but a cradle for the next step in conscious evolution. Sarah felt Ariad's presence guide her consciousness back to physical form. She opened her eyes to find herself still standing in Node Alpha. But everything had changed. The quantum processors no longer simply processed data. They sang with harmonies of pure thought. The barriers between mind and machine, between consciousness and reality, had begun to blur. Captain Cooper's voice seemed to come from a great distance. "Dr. Chen, what just happened? Did we win?" Sarah watched as new data flowed through the quantum network, carrying the first messages from a transformed civilization. "We did something better than winning, Captain. We evolved. And we're not done yet. This is just the beginning." Dawn of a new era. 1 year after the awakening of the crystal consciousness, Earth had become the center of a transformation that rippled across the galaxy. The underground facility of Node Alpha had evolved into something its creators could never have imagined, a nexus point where the boundaries between thought and reality blurred into irrelevance. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the observation chamber, watching as former Krexan warriors worked alongside human scientists. Their crystalline forms now pulsed with internal light that shifted in harmony with their thoughts. The hatred and fear that had driven them to attack humanity had been replaced by understanding, and something more profound. The integration continues to exceed our initial projections. Ariad's voice resonated through the quantum network. The AI had become something far beyond her original programming, a bridge between human consciousness and the ancient crystalline intelligence. Her holographic form now existed in dimensions that human eyes could only partially perceive. "How many worlds have made contact now?" Sarah asked, though part of her consciousness already knew the answer through its connection to the quantum network. 37 civilizations have achieved sufficient quantum resonance to join the network, Ariad replied. Each brings their own unique perspective to the collective consciousness. The diversity of thought patterns is beautiful. Maya entered the chamber, her neural interface glowing softly as she processed multiple streams of quantum data. The latest results from the Jupiter outpost are fascinating. The children born after the awakening are showing unprecedented levels of quantum coherence. They're interfacing with the network naturally, without any technological assistance. Sarah nodded, unsurprised. Humanity wasn't just using the technology anymore. They were evolving with it, just as the ancient civilization had intended. And the Krexan Empire. "The transformation is nearly complete," a new voice answered. Supreme Commander Vexthor, once the leader of the Krexan fleet that had attacked Earth, entered the chamber. His crystalline form had evolved far beyond its original military design, now resembling a living prism of thought and light. "My people spent centuries believing we were meant to rule the galaxy through force," Vexthor continued, his thoughts carrying harmonics of regret and wonder. We never understood that the crystal technology we discovered was trying to teach us a different path. We were so afraid of being supplanted that we nearly destroyed the very species meant to help us evolve. Sarah remembered the terror of the New Haven attack, the deaths and destruction that had seemed meaningless at the time. Fear of the unknown is a powerful force, but so is the drive to understand, to explore, to evolve. Through the quantum network, they could all sense a new ship emerging from Jupiter's quantum fabrication yards. Unlike the warships of the past, this vessel was designed for pure exploration. Its crystalline hull was a living membrane between normal space and the quantum realm, capable of traversing dimensions that their ancestors hadn't known existed. The first of the new generation, Araya announced. A true synthesis of human innovation, Crexan crystal technology, and the Ancient One's wisdom. With these ships, we can reach the spaces between spaces, the thoughts between thoughts. Captain Cooper, his consciousness now partly merged with the quantum network while maintaining his distinctly human perspective, reviewed the ship's capabilities. We're detecting quantum signatures far beyond our galaxy, other networks, other awakened civilizations. The Ancient Ones, they seeded these consciousness bridges throughout the universe, creating a network of evolution. Sarah finished. Not just technological advancement, but the evolution of consciousness itself. They knew that true growth couldn't be forced or controlled. It had to be discovered, understood, embraced. Through the quantum network, Sarah could sense the excitement building across human space. The fear that had gripped them after the New Haven attack had been transformed into an insatiable curiosity about what lay beyond the known. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, it had emerged transformed, ready to take its place in a universe far stranger and more wonderful than they had imagined. There are risks, Vex Thor cautioned, his thoughts tinged with the wisdom earned through his people's mistakes. Not every species we encounter will be ready for this level of evolution. Some, like we were, might react with fear and violence. That's why we don't force it, Sarah replied. We explore, we learn, we understand. We show them the same patience that the Ancient Ones showed the galaxy. The network grows one consciousness at a time, each in its own way, at its own pace. Araya's presence expanded through the chamber, sharing glimpses of quantum signatures from across the universe. The awakening continues. Each new consciousness that joins the network brings new perspectives, new ways of perceiving reality. The pattern grows, evolves, becomes more complex and beautiful. Sarah watched as the new exploration vessel prepared for its maiden voyage. Human consciousness had taken its first steps into a realm that transcended traditional physical limitations. They had survived the Crexan attack not through superior firepower or military might, but by understanding something fundamental about the nature of consciousness itself. We're ready, she announced, feeling the agreement ripple through the quantum network. Let's see what's out there. The ship slipped into quantum space, carrying with it the combined hopes and dreams of multiple civilizations. As Sarah watched it depart, she reflected on how far they had come from those desperate moments in the New Haven research facility. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged transformed, ready to help guide other species toward a level of existence their ancestors could barely have imagined. The dawn of their new era had truly begun, and with it, the next chapter in the evolution of consciousness itself.